I could track anybody just using their geospatial analysis. And it's crazy because if I could do it, we know the companies can do it. Dynamite! There's been a lot of talk recently in the... Oh wait, I forgot to do the whole intro thing. My name's Heero, this is the Identity Booth, and we're going to be talking about Facebook, aka Meta, you know, that shitty company. And Facebook is in some hot water because we just got an article that basically told us Facebook gave teen private message about alleged abortion to Nebraska police. And I have a few questions here. What the fuck? 1, 2, why the fuck? And then 3, Facebook, you fucking idiots. Facebook is currently going through a situation where young people are not flooding to their website anymore. And Facebook then turns around and does the one thing they could do to guarantee that young people won't come around, snitch. We don't like snitches. We don't fuck with them. And here you are fucking with the popos. It's time to probably get rid of Facebook. I've been thinking about this for a long time. The benefits that Facebook has for me versus it doesn't. And I can look at it from an analytical aspect. Maybe in a year I get I can count actually. I know for a fact. In a year, I get 1,000 views from Facebook. In a day, I get 5,000 views from YouTube. None of those views, and of those 1,000 views I could get in one day, probably 2 people will cross over of the 1,000. Is it really worth it to still be posting my shit on Facebook? Do I need a Facebook account? Do I need an Instagram account? Because those aren't places that I post my content like that. I don't know. It's time to question it, but this is a travesty, and I spoke about this earlier too. In my video that talks about Roe v. Wade, I created an algorithm, a script that I use to track people and I could track anybody just using their geospatial analysis. And it's crazy because if I could do it, we know the companies can do it. And we have people who have period trackers and a whole bunch of other stuff. And this data cost me $112 and like 59 cents. It was cheap. But Facebook can't help themselves. Meta gave police access to private Facebook messages that allegedly detailed a Nebraskan teen's plan to get an illegal abortion, bolstering local authorities' cases against the girl and her mother. Mark Zuckerberg's social networking giant, which has promised to cover travel costs for its own employees looking to access abortions following the Supreme Court decision. Could you imagine the irony of that situation? We'll cover your abortions if you work for us, but if you don't work for us, we're gonna fucking rat you out. Could you imagine that shit? Comply with a search warrant from Norfolk, Nebraska police in early June, according to court records obtained by the Post. The parent of Facebook and Instagram handed over the records just weeks before the high court ruling, and weeks before Zuckerberg reportedly told a company all hands meeting that they'll be protecting people's rights. So this was sort of happened in a gray area. But you would hope that they would have fought or stalled this out because reports of it happening were coming out shortly. Meta, which has also reportedly told its employees not to discuss abortion at work, gave police access to 2 accounts belonging to a 17-year-old named Celestial Birds and her mother. Damn. And then y'all post her name? She's a minor. Y'all reckless, man. 41-year-old Jessica Bird's account to court documents. That's fucking crazy. A police detective then found messages between the Burges confirming plans for Celeste to take pills to induce an abortion in April, around 23 weeks into her pregnancy. Nebraska legally cuts off for 20 weeks. Damn. And then y'all posted that shit? That's crazy. So it's out of control. It's out of hand and it's out of control. It just ain't no way. it ain't no way that this is like okay and this is happening. But here I am having a story about it, so I guess it must be happening. I'm super interested to see what comes of this and how far it goes, but you know, that's the angle, that's the situation. It's really tragic, really. Let's get into some more intimate stuff. Clap it.